My dad, before he passed, said to me, I don't know where I buried it, but there's a jar of money in the backyard. And he goes, I hid that money from your mother. He said somewhere between the lemon tree and the veggie patch. And I've gone, that's a lot of land. I go, I can't start digging up the backyard. And he goes, no, wait till your mum's gone.
Welcome to Your Second Act, the podcast that proves that life doesn't have to end at 40, 50, or even 60, because when it comes to living your best life, age is just a number. Hey guys, hope you're having a wonderful start to your week, and thank you so much for tuning in again. Today, it's the Let's Catch Up episode where I talk about topics that really matter to me and hopefully to you as well. For a long time, I've been wanting to discuss aging parents because, let's face it, we are the sandwich generation. We are caught between young adult children and aging parents. And it can be a tricky time in life, especially as we are navigating so many changes in our own lives. So this week on Let's Catch Up, I'm joined by the lovely Tina Nettlefold for an open and honest conversation about aging parents and how we can better navigate this stage in our lives. A few weeks ago, Tina spoke about this topic on her platform. And I've been so eager to bring on a guest who has first-hand experience with the challenges of caring for aging parents. And she so openly said yes and was really happy to come on and have this open conversation with myself. So we discussed the emotional hurdles and the importance of patience. I don't know about you guys, but I find that you do really need a lot of patience when you're dealing with elderly parents because, let's face it, they've changed. They're not the people they used to be. And it's really hard to parent the parent, just you trying to have that mind shift into your new role, your new responsibility as a daughter, as a son. So I really hope you can take away some valuable insights and feel a little less alone in this journey. So let's just dive in and catch up. I've been lately thinking about my parents and the whole issue of aging parents and how they're actually feeling about this transition in life. But it actually got me thinking, how do I feel about aging parents? Because it's a big change. And the other day, unfortunately, my mother had a really bad fall where she hurt herself. And I thought, oh my God, I can't believe I'm in this stage now. I've always looked at my parents as really capable, healthy, fit people. And all of a sudden, it's like it's changed overnight. And it's really stopped me in my tracks. And when I heard you the other day speaking about your family, I thought this is a conversation that a lot of us are definitely facing in this stage of life. And yeah, I just want to really explore it because I'm really finding it hard. I've got a lot of emotions connected to it. And I just want to get your thoughts on it as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think we're all, we're in what they call it the sandwich generation, I think, that we get to an age, and it's been going on for a very long time, but we're at the age, of course, where a lot of us have got kids who are now either left home or they're older. And, we don't have the full-on responsibilities of looking after our children. But we seem to have our parents are getting older and our parents haven't really thought about their old age and what they're going to do. And some of them are, if you come from a European background, very much so, they sort of like leave it to the very end and they hope that their children are going to look after them. And with that comes, of course, the fact that some of us do want to help. But if you're like me as well, where you're not even in the same state as they are, it makes it very difficult. And then you start to have all these, little voices in your head going, oh, I feel guilty because I should be there. I should be helping. But we also are at the stage of our life where we've got a bit of freedom. And it's an opportunity for us to sort of go and do the things that we've always wanted to do because we've got the time now to go and pursue things, whether they're hobbies or a change in a career or travel. And then all of a sudden we've got kids are okay, but aging parents, what do I do? Want to help, want to be there, but Yeah. So we're kind of like in the middle of it and you get pulled from pillar to post. So it's a hard one and it's a conversation that a lot of people kind of talk about. But then when you do bring it up, they go, oh my God, I'm like that too. I've got that problem. Oh, yes, I know. Now I've got to get, now I've got to get mum some care. We've just lost our dad. Oh my God, now I'm left with what do I do with mum? All those things that sort of come up and I don't know whether it's a new thing. I'm sure it's been going for a while, but I now am at the age of where I'm faced with it, like you are too.
Yeah, exactly. And what I'm finding is feelings of guilt as well. My parents don't live that far away, about an hour and a half from here. But because my life is so busy and I speak to them on the phone all the time, I feel like I'm constantly seeing them, but I'm not. And then I thought, wow, no, they're not going to be here for a long time anymore. It's like I've got to start to actually consider them a lot more. Whereas before, I guess I didn't. And it's a really horrible thing to say, but you just take for granted that they're going to be there. But I'm thinking, my dad's 85, my mother's 78. They're not. Time is ticking. And there's a lot of emotions and having those conversations and having them with them as well. Because no one really wants to talk about, well, what are your wishes when you go? Have you got a will? What do you want us to do with the things that you have? And we can be left in a mess. And I know many people that have been left in a mess. They don't know where all the passwords are to the bank accounts. It's even just those little practical things we need to have this open conversation and with our siblings, if we have them as well, because that's another thing. The sibling rivalry when it comes to looking after aging parents, that can cause, it can cause a major rift between the families.
Oh, absolutely. I'm talking about that. My family, not my immediate family, but we've got an issue where there is that situation where we've got one sibling who lives overseas and one sibling who is in the country. Don't live too close to mum. Dad's gone and been gone for about 5 years. Mum's health has been ailing. Aged 91, still wants to live at home, doesn't want to go into a home. Dad went into a home because he had a stroke. She saw how he got treated in that home. She's been left with a lot of bad images. She was in there every day, feeding him, washing his clothes. She didn't like, the whole family didn't like how he got treated in this particular home. And she doesn't want to go there, but she's going blind. So it's a situation she's faced with. I'm going blind. I'm in a home, my own home. Don't want to leave my home. They've put things in place, the railings, all those sort of things. But soon she won't be able to get to the bathroom, won't be able to look after herself in the shower. And so I've got a cousin who is going to the house all the time, every morning and night. It's starting to cause issues between his own family because of the amount of time he's spending with mum, caring for her. She doesn't want to move into the home. They don't want to move into the home. It's all those dynamics that no one really thinks and talks about. My auntie doesn't want to talk about it. She says, as soon as you put me in a home, I'm going to die. Like, so there's that guilt over the two siblings' heads. If we put mum in, she'll die straight away. She's 91. She's fabulous. She's nothing, she hasn't got any illnesses. She's just going blind and she's got bad knees and legs. She can't walk around very well. So it's a situation where, we're all saying, well, who's going to bath you and look after you? You want your son to do that? Of course. Do you think the son wants to bath and wipe his mum's bottom? I don't think so. Then they're trying to get people to go in to help. Well, apparently the wait list is up to 9 months because they've left things a bit long. Yes, 9
Wow.
months. So what do? The cousins now come in from America to come and help for a month. That's only a Band-Aid, trying to get things. So you're left with this because they didn't have those conversations. Nobody had those conversations. What are we going to do with you, mum? Now dad's gone. What are we going to do? You've got eyesight that's failing. What are we going to do? It's really difficult. And she could live for another 10 years. Who knows? Because she's got no illnesses. She's got nothing wrong with her other than her eyesight's going because of glaucoma and her knees are bad and she can't walk around too long.
Do you think she would like her son to take her in?
She also doesn't want to live with her daughter-in-law. Daughter-in-law's been very good to her, but she also feels that she would be a burden. She just wants to stay in her own home. She's stubborn about it. This is the thing. And so they're all going, well, why don't you move in? And he's going, well, my wife doesn't want to move in. You can't make an in-law do something. And I'm always the one saying, she's got her own mother who's got cancer and she lives in the country. So she goes out that way. So the relationship between the two of them is very difficult. And I think this is where you have a lot of divisions, not only between siblings, but also between partners as well, where one partner says, well, I've got my own parent to look after and you've got your parent and and I'm not responsible for your parent, which is true. That's your mother. What do you do? Then you're left with a lot of guilt. So I know my cousin lives with a lot of guilt. My cousin who lives in America has got a lot of guilt because he's not there to carry the burden, but his work and his family's over there. What do you do? So that's what I'm saying. It's a very hard one, especially Europeans, because I remember when my dad got ill, my dad's passed. I'm lucky I've got a very, very strong mum. She's 88. She keeps herself very fit and healthy. But also when dad passed, I've had that conversation. I was open enough to say, Mum, are you okay to stay in your home? It's a big home. You've got a garden. And she gets up every day. Even if she's got her arthritis hurts, she gets up every day. She goes up to the shops, which is she spends, a couple of hours walking around, then comes home, does her garden. And in the afternoon, she goes in her house, she makes her dinner and she watches her telenova movies that she loves. And that's her life. But she has a routine. But she also very open and said recently, she goes, I don't want to end up like my sister. If I get to the point of where I can't shower myself, go to the bathroom and feed myself, I'm very happy to go in a home. But it's because I've brought that up to her and said, Mum, look at this. What are we going to do when you get to that point? And so it's not very nice to ask that because it's like saying, well, I don't care about you. Because a lot of people think, a lot of Europeans think that if we put you in a home, it's like, oh, I don't care about my parent. I just stick them into home, which is not the case, if you know what I mean. So, and then I look at the opposite, like my husband, whose mum, in the last 12 months, we put her in a home. Again, she went into a home at 90. 90.
Wow. That's amazing.
She's been in her own home. She's been divorced for a very long time. She's been a very lonely lady for many, many years. We were lucky she lived another suburb away from us. So my husband was there all the time, just checking in on her. But she was still able, I would send food parcels and stuff. She wasn't very good with her food, but at least we made sure she had food at home. The rest, she's fabulous. She was still driving at 90. Probably shouldn't have, but she was. And you kind of go you probably shouldn't have been driving at 90. But she's got great vision. She's got 20/20 vision, better than mine. And the only thing that's failing her was we got to a situation where she's incontinent and her knees have given in on her and she just can't get to the bathroom in time. And we realised, Mum, you need someone to help. And your health is failing. Again, no illnesses, no signs of no dementia, Alzheimer's, no arthritis, no other than her poor bowels have given in on her. And that's about it, right? So, but we put her in a home down at Rye. And it's a lovely place. She's got a big room. She's made more friends now than she ever did living at home on her own for over 40 years. She goes to bingo nights. They have a glass of wine with their dinner at night. She goes to dancing. She gets her hair done once a week. She gets her nails done once a week. And we've done her room up so it looks like her bedroom that was at home with her own personalised stuff as well. And everyone comes and talks to her every day. And she can go out for a little walk if she wants to. It's not like a prison. She can walk down the street and go to the cafe with her daughter. Now to the point where unfortunately she has to be wheelchair down. But at least she's not alone and she presses a buzzer when she's not well. So
Yeah. And you guys can sleep easy at night knowing that she's been looked after. I think
correct.
the problem with a lot of these nursing homes, we hear the bad side,
Yes.
the bad stories, but you
Yes.
think, I don't want my parents to be in that situation.
Yes.
So you try and keep them at home for as long as you can. But, look at that. Look at that situation. She was alone and isolated, but now she has a sense of community. And like your mother, she's got purpose every day to
Yes.
get up, get out there and do something.
Correct.
And that's why I think it's so important. And when you see these elderly people that have nothing, it scares the hell out of me that that's going to happen to me. And I think I've learned a lot from watching the older generation of what not to do. And I know a lot of people will say, well, it's easier said than done because you're still young, you're still able, but it's a mindset. It's a mindset on aging. But
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah.
And also a mindset on you as the sibling on aging, because when you see like I think my cousin, for example, with his mum, he tells her, don't do this and don't do that. And because you can't see properly, don't turn the kettle on. Don't turn the stove on. You might burn the house down. Like they've got ring things everywhere through the house. They can watch her and make sure she's okay, which is which is good, because they want to make sure she doesn't fall. But the reality is too, I kind of went, well, you're not helping her to be positive in her outlook in life because you're making her say, don't do this and don't do that and whatever. Whereas I say to my mum, and I said, Mum, because she went through a stage where her arthritis was really bad. So I sent her some stuff, some magnesium, some heat pads, bought her a machine where, like you put your feet on it and helps all the circulation. And I said, Mum, get on that machine every day. And I said, go out and walk every day. If the more you sit, the worse you're going to get. And I said, just try going around the block and then go from the block, go back up to the shops. Goes up the shops 2 kilometres away. And I said, but she goes up to the shops and she disappears for an hour because she talks to people. She says hello. So she's realised now in her own brain, the more I do that, I'm happier. She was miserable being inside the house because everything hurt. But the more she moved, the more she forgot about it. And the more she realised she needed that connection to chat to the shop owner. She knows everybody. She knows everyone in the street. Every afternoon, she sits out on her porch with her fold-up chair. God bless her that we bought her. And she watches people walk past. And if she sees a stranger, she says, "Hey, where are you from? What house are you going to?"
Oh,
Like
bless her.
she's like the
Miss
mafia.
Maples.
Yeah, it's just like the mafia police, if that makes sense, right? And at the same time, but then she'll see her neighbours and she'll say, "How are you? What are you doing today?" Hello to the dog. You know what I mean? So she has that sense of being putting herself out there and reconnecting with her community. And a purpose every day. I've got to look after my garden. I've got to cook for myself. And then occasionally my brother says, "Oh, Mum, can you make that lovely dish that your grandchildren like?" And so she'll cook for them and go down to their house and feed them. So if she can find every day something to do and, like every day make a list of things that she would like to do. And you were talking before about, like um Mum's got a house full of stuff. And I said, last time I was up there, I said to Mum, look at your home because you're going to leave all this stuff for me to take care of. And I don't know what you want to do with this. What do you want to do with all your crystal? What do you want to do with all the stuff that's underneath the house? What do you want to do with all the clothes? Do you want to donate stuff? Like I had that conversation with her. And I hate having that conversation because it sort of like says it's the end for Mum, but
Yeah.
it's not the
Yeah.
end. It's almost like, me just saying, what are your wishes? Like I know we already talked about her will and stuff because my dad passed. So we had a conversation about that a while ago. but it's not a conversation my brother likes to have. Like, that's definitely not one he's had with his mum, whereas I bring that up. And I think that's really important that we do that because I don't want to do something my mum would want me to do. So, I said to her, well, I would like to have your jewelry. And she goes, great, you can have my jewelry. And she started giving it to me. But do you know what I mean? Like, there was those things about having those conversations. It doesn't mean that she's dying tomorrow. It just means I know what she wants to do with things. And so I said, Mum, you've got so much stuff underneath the house that Dad had. Why don't you start just giving things away or putting it out for the trash? So every day she goes under there and starts to, get rid of things. And I think that you've got to be able to have those conversations with them. I said, you've got to
Yeah.
stop hoarding. You don't need all this stuff. Maybe some of those, 20 blankets that you've got in those cupboards, why don't you go give that to some Vinnies and maybe they can sell them or give them to people that do need clothes
Yeah.
and blankets because they're brand new,
Yeah.
So she started
It's the
doing,
mindset.
it's a mindset.
It's that
And I think,
of like, I want to keep all this stuff. I've had it forever. I don't want to let it go. But
yeah.
they don't even use it.
No. And I said, Mum, you had all that stuff because we're a house full of people and you used to get a lot of visitors and, you had extra blankets and extra things that we would throw around and people would sleep on couches and stuff. I go, we don't need that anymore. And I said that, they're really good, beautiful quality, like, European stuff. And I go, give it to people that need it. But maybe they hang on to memories. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're scared to let that go.
And I think they've come from a generation where they were
Yes.
by the end of the war, post-war, where they didn't have much. So this is actually something that I really wanted to bring up. My grandmother, when she passed away, my mother and her brothers went through the whole house. They found money under the bed, in between books.
Oh my gosh.
So much cash. And Mum said, thank God we went through it and we knew what she was like, that we would have thrown away all this money. Again, it's that mindset. And that generation are like that. So if anyone is listening and has a mother or a father that does that, make sure you go through things because I think it was something stupid like $20,000 they found.
Yeah. Oh, well,
everywhere, all over the house.
That's not unusual. My dad, before he passed, said to me, I don't know where I've buried it, but there's a jar of money in the backyard. And I said, what? And he goes, I hid that money from your mother. And I've gone, what? I was very close to my dad. And I went,
No way.
I go, start digging up the backyard. And he goes, now, wacky, your mum's gone. And I'm like, I'm going to go get a shovel. I can just see this, like, a shovel digging up the backyard. My brother's going to say,
Oh my God.
I said, Dad buried his money in here. So, like, that is not funny. And my dad did it apparently because he was getting cash for some, like, work in the old days. And he always worried about banks. Like, he always thought, oh my God, what if the banks go broke? And I think, like, they grew up in an era where banks did go broke. So, and so for them, it was not unusual to have that money just in case something went wrong, and you needed money. So I don't know how much money's buried there, but I don't know where he's got it. That's the only thing. I'm like,
has he kind of given you an idea of where the backyard in the corner? Or
he said something between the lemon tree and the veggie patch, and I've gone, that's a lot of land. Like, that's a lot. Like, it's a big backyard. I'm like, the lip and the garden, like the veggie patch. I'm going, okay, who knows? But I'm just saying that's not unusual. But, at least you kind of know what, what your family or your parents really want. And I want to know that when my parents do go, my dad's gone, now he's gone in peace and all his wishes were fulfilled. And that makes me feel good that at least he's gone in peace and that I didn't do anything that he would be disappointed in, like that he wanted those things. And I think all of us probably want that because it's closure when we do get to that stage. And we're all at the age, we're all approaching that age where we're going to be then we become the orphans and then we become that generation, if that makes sense, like And I
Yeah,
think,
see, that's weird too.
yeah, that is weird. And I mean, I don't like thinking about it, but I'm older than you are. I'm 63. And, like even now we're sort of like we're building our dream home that we have, that I see ourselves in the last third of our life, because that's what it is when you think about it. And it's scary, but it's like, how do I want to live that part of my life? My dad, when he got sick because he was ill for a while, he would say, "Old age ain't for sissies." And I'll never forget that. And it's exactly why I'm saying to my mum, I know you've got arthritis, mum. I know it hurts in winter, but, push, just push. Don't give in on it. And I think that's what my dad used to do. Like he'd say, "Yeah, I'm hurting, but I'm going to push through this because, yes, we get to an age where we've done everything in our life and we get older and we think, this is where we should be enjoying ourselves. But we're left with, a lot of people are left with illnesses and pain and, situations like that. And you kind of go, it's so unfair. But it's about your mindset. Don't let that sort of take over your life. You're still living, live as much as you can. So I think that definitely, my dad's taught me a lot about that. His other famous saying, and I love it, he used to say to me, "You're a long time old and a short time young."
Yeah, that's so true.
He goes, "Live young as long as possible." So that
Yeah,
was his mindset, that you don't have to think, you might be older, but you don't have to think old. It's about living, because a lot of people, when they think they get old, you hear that saying from especially a lot of Europeans, "Oh, I've got this, but oh, well, I'm old. I'm going to die soon." I'm like, oh my God.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Give up, give
I,
up. It's
that
so
giving
true.
up sort of situation. And I think for us going forward, if we can change our mindset about aging and accepting it with positivity and saying the great thing about aging is you shouldn't give us stuff about anything, because you get to an age where I don't care anymore. Care what people think or say. I can do whatever I want. And I think that's important, that we at least say we don't have to worry like we did when we are in our 40s, in our 50s. Our kids have got their own lives. We don't have to worry about them anymore. We can just be the doting grandparent who does give the grandchild the ice cream for breakfast. But we would never have done that as parents, like. So I think there goes another way of looking at it. But we're still in that situation though, regardless of how we look at it. We're still in a situation of what do we do with this generation that is still in that old kind of mindset
Yes,
about,
yes,
um,
yeah. I think what I'm also finding, oh, geez, I hope my mother doesn't listen to this. She said to me, she goes, "You just don't have any patience when it comes to me." And I'm guilty of that. I don't. Sometimes I just don't. And I do feel really bad. So I'm really trying to work hard on that. And, when I talk to other friends, they'll say, "Oh my gosh, the same." They'll repeat themselves. But the funny thing about repetition, my own kids say, "Mum, you have said that so many times." And then my mother says to me, "Serves you right. See, now you're getting it. You tell me, now your kids are telling you."
yeah,
But it's just it's really tough, because as much as I love my parents and I'll do anything for them, the other side is I've got to have patience. I've got to realize it's not going to be for a long time. So don't snap, just hold your tongue. It's funny, you go from having little kids and needing patience for
yeah,
them, and then
yeah,
you have a bit of free time,
yeah.
and then you're dealing with parents, and some of them do turn into children.
They do. They do. It's like you've got you've got your kids and then all of a sudden your parents become your children. It's like weird. I know. It's
Parenting the parent. It's
parenting the
tough.
parent. I mean, I know what you were saying before about patience and about my mum loves to chat. She's typical, I shouldn't say typical Greek, but anyway, she loves a little gossip here and there, like, did you know, Auntie, so and so did this and that and whatever. You're like, so my mum loves to tell stories, and I ring her every day because I'm, in Melbourne, and she tells me stories, and she'll say, "Do you remember the lady that lived down the road when you were 5 years old and she was so and so, whatever?" And I'm like, as if I remember, but just because, like you were saying before about patience. And I've learnt. best thing to do is just let them talk. So I usually have my mum on loudspeaker. I don't put my earplugs in because it's like too much, you know what I mean? Like, so I'll have her on loudspeaker and then I go off and do stuff, put her on mute. And then every now and again I'll press the unmute button. They'll go, "Oh yes, yes, really? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah." Back on mute. Fold the clothes, and then she'll go, "Are you there?
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, sorry, mum. Sorry. Yeah, what? Because they just want to unload, but it's almost like they just need you to be a sounding board. I kind of realize they don't want you to really say anything. Like, when you're like listening about, like when my mum went to her doctor's appointment, blah, 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 blah. It took me this long to get there. And then I had to wait for 5 minutes. And
The
I'm like,
detail.
like,
Yeah, I don't want to
okay.
know the detail.
Yeah, you go, yeah. And then, they took
Yeah.
another lady before they took me. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, just instead of doing that and going, this is driving me insane, put it on loudspeaker. Just walk around and do stuff. I mean, it's just, I think it's just their way of like involving you in their life, maybe, or maybe they wanted us to be there to like experience it with them. I don't know. But I think sometimes they're just going to let them talk. Just, that's all it can be. I haven't worked it out myself. All I can say is it's helped me doing that because now mum can just rant for 20 minutes and it's fine. And it's okay. But patience is a thing that we have to learn as they get older. Yeah. I just hope I'm not like that.
Oh, you see, this is a thing. It's so true. I talk to my sister about this all the time and say, I don't want to be that way. And it's easy for us to say it now. But like I said before, I think we can learn a lot from these situations. And then hopefully, if I'm lucky enough to get to their age, that I can try and have a more open mind and remember what it was like for me.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
because
Yes.
it's not easy, it isn't easy
As that said,
to
old age
age
changes
and
sissies.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's so
No,
true.
it's not.
No.
It's definitely not. That's
No.
why now, like, I'm all about just. Someone said to me today, "You've you've got from 50 to 75. That it's the best part of your life because you're still healthy. You've still got lots that you can do. So make those years count." And I thought, wow, 75, like that's getting on. But it's not. Like I look at a lot of people at that age and they're living big lives. And that's what I want. But I don't know, for me, it's that tough period of being in between these young adult children who are living these great lives and then your aging parents and you're trying to also live your best life. I'm finding it's a little bit tough. I feel very torn.
Yeah, it's very hard. And it's easy for someone to say that, but the reality is that between 50 and 75, I think, rather than 73 or whatever, 75, I do think because we are healthier, we are looking after ourselves. We do now have medications to make us live a lot longer as well. We are looking after ourselves. We're a lot more educated. But it's also the time that we start to lose people that we love. And it's a difficult time too because a lot of us have got aging parents that do pass away. So it's a great time to live. It's also a time that sometimes we become the orphans, and then we become those parents, if that makes sense. So it's a wonderful time, but there's also a bit of sadness. Like, I personally have lost a lot of members of my family. A lot of aunties, uncles have all gone. I've even had cousins who unfortunately died in their 50s and 60s from cancers or disease or issues. So I've said a lot of goodbyes in that age now being at 63, between 50 and 63. And definitely if I look at 63 now to 75, I don't think my mum's going to live that long, and I don't think my auntie will. And I've got, aging cousins as well. And it's difficult. It's difficult to kind of look at that. But it also makes you realize that's why. And my motto is if you follow my socials, live big, love big. And that is the time that you say, I've only got one life, live it every day to its fullest. Because we will be saying goodbye to people, but it's also our job to live our best life. So
Yeah.
only way you can do that. And
Yeah.
this is
And no one else's.
no one else's, under no one else's rules, under no one else's, exactly what you're
Yeah.
saying. If you don't want to be like your mum in certain ways, I'm sure you do in lots of other ways. And I certainly don't want to be like my mum in some ways, because there's some things that she does that I'm like, I would never do that. But anyway. And she's, very, very manipulative in the Greek way. I don't do that with my children. So we take the good and what we learn from that. But I definitely love to live my life to its fullest every day. I make sure I accomplish something every day. There's a purpose every day. And that's the best way to live a happy life, really. And I think that is our responsibility. No, as adults, we are responsible for our own happiness. And and sometimes it's hard because, we're sad because there are things that happen in our lives. And there are times when things are not that easy, but there's always a little bit of joy in every day, just a bit. Even on a bad day, you'll find a little bit of joy.
That's right.
You
There's
know,
always a silver lining, isn't there? There's always something that you can be thankful for.
our
And
grateful, just be
it's, im-
grateful. We can have a shit
yeah,
day, but we can definitely walk into our homes and say, thank goodness I'm grateful. Thank God I've got a roof over my head and it's warm and I've got food on the table. We may have had a shit day. There's a lot of people who don't have a roof over their head and don't have a warm
exactly.
home and don't have a plate of
Yeah.
food. So
Yeah. Or don't have parents anymore.
don't have parents
So,
anymore. So when we do
yeah,
have them, and,
yes,
it's hard because, like you were saying before, then when you do have them and you say things, you go, "And now I feel guilty that I was thinking that," like, so we don't win. It's like that whole sandwich situation. But I think as a topic, I think our sort of people of a certain age are still very fortunate, and I think that going forward, if we can teach that to our parents, it helps a little bit as well, like making them be a bit more positive about stuff in their life. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to feel old. Does that make sense? Like nobody wants. Have you ever met anyone like who's in their 30s and you think, oh my God, you're like a 50-year-old? You know, and then you meet 50-year-olds and you go, oh my God, you're like a 20-year-old? You know, nobody, it's the mindset of getting older means it's the end of your life, and getting older is sad. That's where I think I look at Barclay's dad, for example. He's just living it, just living it.
how good. I would love that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I know. And I keep
It's not
thinking,
giving up.
yeah, not giving up. It's not giving up.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's had his issues. He got bowel cancer, but they removed his bowel. He's fine. He had a little bit of a heart issue. They put a stint in. Now he's still drinking out there. He's out there every day. He watches what he eats, but he exercises. So he knows what's right. So I think it's the way we approach our old age, because it's a time of freedom. It's a time of not giving a care anymore about what people think. It's a time to be selfish, but it's also a time of when you are faced with health issues, and, and how you approach those health issues is what's really important. So I think it's that. And also, I think I keep saying to my kids, you won't have to worry about me, because I will be responsible for my old age. And what I mean about that, and I've actually asked my friends this, and even on social media, I said, has anyone ever thought about making a plan for your old age? And a lot of people put I had like a poll going up, and a lot of people said, no, I'm not ready. And some people said yes. And what I mean about that is making a plan for your old age, like when you're approaching, and I look at like the last set of my life, I'm building a dream home. I know that's where I want to be. I built it with the intention of I've got a lift in there so that, if I get older, I can still get up and down the stairs, all that sort of stuff. Um, it's about how do you want to live in a certain age of your life.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is have a plan. Say to your kids, yes, I've got my will under control. Yes, I've got my insurances under control. Yes, I've got my health insurance under control. Yes, I've got, this is when I'm gone, this is what I would like, you know. And I think that, And your kids kind of go, ooh, like, I don't want to know all that stuff. But I kind of make a joke out of it, but they kind of know, if that makes sense. It also means that, I know that also I don't want my boys worried about me like my Auntie Helen is in the situation, and it causes an issue in my kids' family. So my attitude is I'll get to an age where I know, okay, I can't look after myself anymore, and I need to go into a home, and this is where I would like to be. Done. So it's all
Yeah.
planned. So you know.
You make those choices. Exactly. It's not, you're not leaving it up to your kids to make it for you.
No.
And yeah, that's why today I thought I really want to talk about this, because I think a lot of us don't want to think about it. And even though, like, I feel like I'm so far away from that, but hey, life goes fast. So even for us in our midlife, make the plans, think about what you want. And so when it comes to that point, you're actually doing something that you want, as opposed to what your kids are trying to make you do. And learn from your parents the things that they didn't do, or the mistakes. So every generation we learn from the one before, as they say. And it's so true. And because you want to be living to the end, touch wood, in a good way, in a way that you've chosen for yourself.
Correct, other than other people where, you get to the point of, who knows, I might end up with dementia or Alzheimer's or whatever, where you can't
Yes,
make those decisions.
yes.
But
Of
if your
course,
family
different
kind of knows
situation.
what you want, then implement
Yeah,
them and make sure that they're done. How many families do you see where you have siblings saying, one says, put mum in a home and we'll sell the house and, all that sort of
yeah,
stuff. Where there'd be another sibling saying, no, I'm happy for mum to come and live with me, but I need to sell the house so I can support mum and have a helper in the home. And then the other sibling goes, no, but I want the money. There's all those things. And I think, and then you're kind of like, and then you're this person here and you're like, well, this is my house. I've worked for this, but you're all making the decisions for me. No, 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 no. I'll make the
that'd be
decisions.
bloody horrible.
Yeah. But, when you get older, like I notice things that worry my mum at the moment, being in her own home, if something breaks in the home, and it could be something very little, like her security door one day, her screen door didn't lock properly. What do I do? What do I do? And I go, Mum, you know what to do. A locksmith. Where do I find a locksmith from? So I had to guide her to go and do that. And then when she did it, I didn't go and do it for her. Then when she did it, she was like, oh my God. Because my dad used to do all those things. It's not things that she's used to doing, right? And so, as children, we're responsible to make sure, because little things bother as you get older. They become really big things. Like your mum probably like, I have to get to the doctor's. How am I going to get there? I don't drive. Do I get the bus? My mum goes, what's an Uber? I go, "Mum," like, no idea. But do you know what I mean? Like, it's those sort of things that gets to people. And I think that as we age, it's important that we also know in our midlife, keep up with technology, keep up with what's going, keep learning. Don't allow yourself to become this feeble little person where everybody has to look after you. You need to be responsible for yourself, even in your old age. And I think that you can ask for help and your children can guide you, but we shouldn't have to say, they'll look after me, which is what a lot of European families do. It's like, my kids will look after me. Like, oh, that's so unfair. Really is unfair. So I think that, and I think as a person too, wouldn't you be happier in your own skin knowing that you have control rather than your kids have control?
I
No.
think so. I remember seeing this greeting card that said, be nice to your kids because they're the ones who choose your nursing home.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah.
Well, you choose it yourself then. You go out.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to go here.
Yeah, I like that place. I'm going to go and have a look over there and whatever. But,
Yeah, yeah.
like that is, you can't count on certain things because even your own children will be influenced by their partners sometimes.
Yes, absolutely.
And
I
that's
know.
another
You've got to
topic all on its
consider it
own.
Absolutely. Well, I'm not there yet. So, but one day you never know. But thank you for coming on and sharing your thoughts, because like I said, I think it's a really important topic and it's one that we all will face or have faced. But let's do it in a way that it doesn't have to be so hard, and respect our parents for the wishes that they want, and listen to them. But you've got to have the conversation. So I've already started, especially with my dad. I mean, he is amazing. He's already got his little red folder with everything in it. He goes, when I die,
Bless him.
come here and everything is here. And I'm
I
going,
love
yeah,
it.
isn't that great?
I
Whereas
love
other
that.
people go, I wouldn't even know where to start. But
Yeah.
that's because he's that type of person. So for me, that's really comforting to know. And I've already stepped in and started helping them with their finances. So when the time comes, I won't be in the dark. But, it's hard. I think for me, I'm finding all these emotions at the moment. It's just seeing them age, and it's like they're not going to be around for much longer. So for me, I've got to work on my patience as well, and also spending more time because life is busy.
Yeah, I know, but I wouldn't beat yourself up over spending more time. Like living in Melbourne and my mum being in Sydney, what you got to do is create some memories. It's the quality of your time. It's not necessarily just going there and saying hi and then listening to mum going, Say, right, I'm going to come, but we're going to go do this, but then we're going to go and do something, whether it is give them some experiences. Take them back to the zoo. When was the last time they went to the zoo? Or take them
Yeah.
for an drive and go down to, somewhere in Sydney that might be beautiful, down to Rose Bay or Double Bay, have a coffee. Just
Yeah.
create those,
Change it up.
change it up,
Yeah.
change the environment, give them little memories that they will have that makes them happy. Create those memories for yourself. So that when you do see them aging, at least you know, okay, I don't have to spend every 5 minutes with you, but the quality time I do spend with you, we're going to make this positive and fun and, make it something that I will remember. So when they are gone, you can look back at those things. I wish I had spent more time because I was down here, but I spent a lot of quality time.
Yeah.
And that is what's more important. So we should never beat
Absolutely.
ourselves up about that. Just make those
Yeah.
moments count. Don't go there just to visit, if that makes sense, because then you'll
Yeah.
be going, oh my God, they're going on and on
Yeah.
and on about stuff. And, so I would try and change it up by doing something fun and let's go do this. Really? Come on. Let's go.
Make a memory. Yeah.
Make a
Make a memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that
Well,
that is one thing that when our parents do go, that you're left with.
yeah.
Not left with the sad moments. You're left with the memories of your childhood or things that you did with them. You're not left with the sadness.
Yeah. That's important.
Mm.
Oh,
So
thank you. I love
all
that.
grow
That's
old,
beautiful.
gold
Yes.
positively and gracefully.
Yeah. Absolutely. I hope so.
Bless for your mum and dad. Bless for your mum and dad.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Tina. I've
You're
loved
very
the
welcome.
chat.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Your Second Act. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you could rate and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to me.